19 of our launch to the findacoolboss.com boss employee platform coming up. We're looking for March of 2024. So, first of its kind platform, job recruiting platform, but not like those big ones that you see where they're just taking, all these jobs and, scraping through them and throwing them out there. And I just read 3% chance that you're going to find a match there that's going to work for both the company and the employee. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But from what I understand and from what I hear from a lot of bosses, a lot of companies, it's very difficult to find the right person. So it's just what it is. That being said, what is the right person? Who is the right person? And we talk about this a lot. And so this is what our platform is going to be all about. It's going to be about really digging in deeper on the alignment. So we got some really cool stuff we're working on that's going to use the algorithm to match them. So if you take a dating service and you put it together with a job recruiting service, you get a match. So in other words, you find a boss that you love. So that's going to be really cool. They're really working hard on it. They're building out as we speak. And in the meantime, we're building up our army. I just call them an army of already coolest boss ever leaders, not people that even knew about the coolest boss ever, but just are skilled and have been using a lot of the strategies that we are teaching to so many new effective leaders. So you could be a leader; it doesn't mean you're an effective leader. And I just day after day, people come up to me and they just talk about it, and it's I understand why there's not a lot of effective leadership, and I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, look, maybe it's a lack of training, but there's a lot of awareness too. And so what I would say to you is, and this is something I did many many years ago, and then of course once you're aware of what I'm going to talk about, then you can really, really get good at it, and it becomes who you are. And I always like to talk about, you don't want to get so tactical, like sales training, for instance. What's the transformation sales training has gone through, and from the old hard in your face, what do you mean you got to think about it? Who do you got to think about? What do you and asking questions, and I get it. A lot of times it's because psychology tells us that a lot of people are reluctant to buy, especially big committed purchases, because they've been burned before. So they really, are reluctant. They're just putting it off. Even if they really want to buy something from you, they put it off because of that fear of being burned. And then a lot of times you get back to them, you follow up 2, 3, 4 days later, and they give you an answer. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, yeah, I'm ready to go. And they never even thought about it since they left you. It was just a stall. And so there are many different sales trainings available. And what's becoming more and more popular again is not the in your face. What do you mean your other half makes the decisions, or things like that, to try to push someone over that stall hump. And the bottom line is this: if you are a good salesperson at all, then you're going to use persuasion in the best way possible, because persuasion is about having two winners. You offer a service or a product that you know is going to be good for someone, biases aside, not because you're selling it, but that it's really going to benefit them, and you feel that in your heart. That's going to make you an awesome, amazing salesperson. Now, that being said, if you're just selling something to make some money and to get your quota or whatever it may be, and you'll say anything to make it happen, well, then that's more of a manipulation, and that's just not cool. And nowadays, people can sniff it out pretty good. They have the internet available. It's not like the old days. Now they can find out. And in fact, a lot of times people do it before they even meet up with you. But anyways, going back to some of the effective leadership, today is day 19. So we're moving right along. As far as what we've been doing, what I did for the launch, because every day I'm working on something. Remember that little step every day, it keeps the momentum going. It tends to attract more opportunities. And I think very, very important is it keeps you confident. Just when when you set big, incredible goals, the ones that most people look at you, roll their eyes like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, um, you know, it's past most people's limited beliefs, but it's something you want to achieve. And I'm just telling you firsthand, um, it's gonna be hard to maintain that confidence, especially when you're going online and whether it's through social or whatever, and all you're seeing is, wow, this person's doing so good, and oh my god, oh, this person's doing the same thing I'm doing, and they're already way ahead of me. Why would someone buy from me and not just from them? They're the expert already, and there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to start thinking, and it's going to it's testing you to push you down. And remember, whatever doesn't break you is going to make you stronger. So that's why it's so important to feel some sort of progression, even the littlest bit every day. Find a way to feel it every day, if that rhymes, whatever. I think that's really important. I was talking to someone this morning who works in a leadership role at a big, world-renowned company, and I mean, just in a nutshell, I'm not going to say any names or anything, um, but it's really interesting hearing from these people because we're not talking about just small businesses. Sometimes because of the way I like to teach, I like to get right down to the human. In other words, we're all humans. There just might be a lot more of them in this company, and there's going to be a lot more rules and hoops to jump through in order to make changes. I get that. And that makes it very difficult. That's why the small business um, and the small business owners, they have an advantage where they can turn that ship much quicker if they're aware of what's going on. But regardless, I was talking to this person, and they were just telling me she's in a leadership role, but she doesn't, she can make recommendations and all of that for people. But she's just saying it's really hard because the management really it's all about the bottom line, and they're they don't look at they're not looking at the big picture. They're not looking down the road. They're still looking at what are we gonna make? What are we gonna make? What's that gonna cost? What's this? And I understand that, but you got to look at the big picture. You know, One time I'll share a story with you. Being in the martial arts industry, we did a fundraiser. We initiated it for canine police officers for the dogs, and it was about getting them fitted with custom ballistic vests. I mean, really cool, very expensive, like $2,000 a piece. I mean, it's like twice as much as a human vest would be because they're custom made for each dog and things like that. But anyways, when approaching the town about it and saying, "Hey, look, we're doing this. We would like some help or whatever," the town was, in a position where they weren't able to financially help for whatever reason. Although they're spending over $20,000 on training one of these dogs. I mean, I don't know the exact figure, and it's probably a lot more than that, quite honestly. But I'm just saying they got to raise this dog, and then at a certain point they got to train it, and the training that goes in it with its handler, the human partner in the set, and they're just going through all these things, and they're like, "Wow, we really appreciate what you're doing. We just can't help." They're spending all this money on this training, but they can't spend another 2 grand on a vest. I mean, how many canines does a town have? Two, three, sometimes only one, if any. So why wouldn't you? That's like buying a $20,000 super television set and not paying the extra 2 grand for a 5 year anything goes warranty. I mean, if you're spending that kind of money, big money, doesn't it make sense to look at the big picture and invest in things that are going to keep it? Well, it's basically the same thing when it comes to leadership in a business. Are you willing to cut corners and be cheap and not be aware of the culture in your business because you want to save a few pennies or what have you? You're not looking at the big picture. And what's going to happen is these people, even if they like their job, they don't feel the love. They don't remember. They're not going to care about you or your company until they know how much you care about them first. And if they're seeing, there's something I heard on the radio this morning. It's like it was about Christmas bonuses, and how many small business owners like, well, sorry guys, it was a tough year and this and that, and as they just got done filling up their BMW and they got no money left to spend on their team. It's just, and I understand the perspective. I mean, especially as a small business owner, you know, you usually don't have a problem justifying expenses that are going to help the company in the gross, and sometimes they may be you know, on something that you as the owner might get the most advantage out of than anyone else. whatever it may be. Oh, got to get a brand new this because that's going to help us bring in more business, and I get to use it, but I don't have money, for a Christmas bonus, for instance, or I don't have money to, properly train this person, or, things like that. You got to look at the big picture. So talking with this person this morning, it was just pretty wild because it kind of blew me away. The reputation this company has as being, you know, at one time like a company that every company wanted to be like, and there they are, like, literally saying things that just aren't true to their employees to get them to keep to stay. And I mean, there was a lot of stuff she shared, and I get it. I'm not naive. Big companies like that, unfortunately, a lot of them do have those practices in place, and it's a shame, quite honestly, because I believe, including the person I talked to, has incredible talent. Once again, being that I'm very passionate about what I do and what I'm building and what I like to do for people, I tend to attract the same kinds of people to me, and they share with me, and I just really appreciate and respect people that are passionate about what they do. I mean, it could be anything. You could be like passionate about cleaning out porta potties. If that's your gig, I mean, you want to talk about respectable for someone to do that for a living and actually want to do the best job possible. That's really admirable. But everybody's got their thing. And that I respect that, and I respect that with this person I was talking to. But man, hearing how, oh, we're not even, we don't even want to hire full timers because it might cost more to have a full timer versus, contracting everything out, which in the long run is going to cost a lot more money, and I don't know, just craziness. Look at the big picture. Look at the big picture. Now, looking at the big picture, another name we have for that is what we would call vision. So once again, how do you tie in all your values and your purpose and your mission of your company into a vision that you have to have for yourself as the leader first, and then share it with the company and all the people in the company so that you're all aligned to this vision. This is what we're here for. This is how we're going to do it. This is why we do it. This is what we believe in, and we're all on board with this. And let's all go out there. We can all work separately even a lot of times, but we're all a shared desired outcome. Doing it the same way that we all agree is what we stand for. Um, so you can have that vision, but once again, and what I watch these business coaches, and they talk about creating mission statements and visions, and I agree with that. But what I also agree with is you can have the best vision in the world, and you can have it look all pretty and glossy, and wow, this looks like, wow, this is incredible. If you lack the communication skills to convey that, and not just at a meeting with a PowerPoint and loud music and flashy lights and, wow, this is so cool. I'm talking day to day. How are you able to convey that day to day with the way you talk with your employees, the way you listen to what they have to say, the way you encourage um, feedback, the way you encourage innovation, what ideas they have. I mean, you have to know how to communicate, and really, that's not rocket science. But most people just don't know how to do it, and it's totally trainable. Easier for some people than others, and I'm constantly, and you can ask anyone on my team, I make mistakes. We all make mistakes, and when I make a mistake, I'm going to face it, because if I can make a mistake, face it, fix it, and then convey that to my team and say, hey, look, yeah, I should have done this, should have done that, you know, I'm going to fix it, then, and make it better and make it stronger, and, my bad, that's huge to an employee. Whoa, my leader knows that they're human too. They make mistakes. They admit it. They might even apologize if it's something, whether maybe they disrespected in some way or undermined and unintentionally or whatever. But, face it, fix it, sometimes apologize for it. That tells you, that's leading by example. But at the same time, it's also telling your team that, look, that's not acceptable. I made the mistake. This is what I did. I admitted it. I fixed it. This is how I fixed it. So I would expect you guys not to make the same mistake. So you're kind of getting both. You're being human. You're being strong enough to them to say, hey, look it, yes, I did this. I'm not going to do it again. This is what I did to fix it. Now you guys learn from me. You know, takes right. A wise person learns from their mistakes, and even wiser person learns from others' mistakes. And then I would go to say that an effective leader who makes mistakes fixes them, shows them, and then conveys that to others as well, and says, "Hey, look it, I have the confidence to admit it." So, I mean, nobody likes, when you see someone, especially someone as an authority figure, you blatantly makes a mistake. You just want them to admit it. I know in our country, in the U.S., I mean, people do some really asinine stuff sometimes. I mean, negligence. I mean, depending on what the intent is. But my point is this: it just seems like we're such a forgiving country overall. And as long as, it's not, certain things are totally taboo, of course. Um, and I mean, certain things that you need help to overcome. But you're still accountable for your actions. Just because you have this condition or whatever, and that's why you did this horrible thing to someone else. Yeah, we feel bad for you. You need help, but that doesn't excuse you from the accountability of what you did to this person. Um, but either way, you just admit it and you ask for forgiveness and you fix it. You see it in sports athletes, celebrities all the time. Just admit it. But when you lie and literally lie to someone's face, they resent that and they know you're lying. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, kind of thing, because that's disrespectful. It's insulting, and you don't want your employees to look at you that way. So that being said, vision is important, but it's only going to be good if you can convey it in a way to your people, listen to what they have to say, and lead them strong and effectively by utilizing all these major characteristics of leadership, which we do have in the Cool Boss Factor quiz. Which, by the way, if you haven't already, find coolboss.com, which is our temporary page leading up to the launch. It's on there. It's what we call a micro tool, and it's actually going to be part of the platform where bosses and companies that are posting jobs, as well as people looking for jobs, they both take and answer these 15 questions and rate these 15 effective leadership characteristics. And based on their answers, that is part of the algorithm, which is very, very cool. It's not, you see these job sites and it's like, well, we're this company and we believe in this and we're going to help you and grow you. And they make all these promises, but yet it's very vague and broad. I mean, they're just telling you in a minute or maybe even in a paragraph, this is how it, and people find out real quick that a lot of time that's not the truth. So it's kind of cool when you can grade yourself, you can grade how important these characteristics are to you from 1 to 10. And a boss can say, this is how well I feel I am at 1 to 10. And of course, we do have a review aspect to it so that, a boss doesn't just go, hey, yeah, I'm 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. I'm a super boss, because people will call them out pretty quickly, as they should. Remember, you don't tell me, show me. That's what I always tell my students. Don't tell me you're going to do this. Don't tell me you're going to do that. Show me. Anyone can say it. Everyone makes promises, but a promise is not a guarantee. And that being said, all right, work on that vision. Lead by example. Some really cool things, guys, take action. Get that leadership training. Check out Coolest Boss Ever movement. Become part of us, and we're going to share all these different things. Now that I got a couple good weeks of these videos in on our launch, we're on day 19 out of 90. I'm going to start adding more content to these videos, just specific little topics. And I do it in a way that I'm hoping is just easily digested. Like, oh yeah, I get it. And I'm just going to talk to you like a human, like we're sitting having a coffee, because we are just people. You don't want to, on all these little pie charts, and this is what you got to do, and this is what you say, and if they say this, say that. Look at the stuff that I like to teach. You can use it with your kids. You can use it, with any of your relationships, any of your interactions. In fact, even perfect strangers at the store, at the drive-through, or whatever. You get so good at, you want to use it, you want to refine it. and you get really good at it, and you'll be incredibly influential as a leader. And I think that's really what we want to be as good, effective leaders. We want to be influential. We want to be able to influence our culture. It starts at the top for good, for high performance, and for support and growth and all of those things that will help you build that dream team of employees. And that's what we want. Because like I say, you know, your dream life is just one dream team away. You're gonna need that dream team. So I will catch you on day 20. Until then, take it easy.